Hello, fellow bakers, and welcome to the Breaking Bread podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Parker. In today's scrumptious episode, we will travel back in time, uncovering the mythical origins of our favorite bread, sourdough. So, grab your favorite cup of tea, maybe a slice of warm bread, and buckle up. We're going on an adventure through time. I'm excited, and I hope you are too. Let's dig in. Let me take you back, way back to ancient Africa, a time when our ancestors were just scratching the surface of civilization. In the heart of our journey, we find a confident and resourceful woman, Nyah. With 4 children and 1 more on the way, she's got her hands full. To feed her family, Nyah would spend her days grinding seeds into flour, combining it with water and creating a simple flatbread, not the fancy designs we are used to today, but it sustained them. Where does sourdough enter the picture, you may ask? Well, stay with me on this ride. One evening, spent out from the day's labors, Nyah's husband arrives home empty-handed and innocently put forth the question we all dread, what's for dinner? For our heroine, that was the moment. She decided she needed a break. And so with the cry of exhausted mothers echoing through history, she set off for her sister's village, leaving behind her family and an unbaked bowl of porridge mix. Now this is where it gets intriguing, my baking enthusiasts. Upon her return, Nyah is faced with a scenario quite familiar to most of you, a messier house than she left. Amidst all the chaos, however, something peculiar catches her attention. The same bowl of porridge she left behind was now a living, breathing entity, bubbling and growing. With no clue as to what was happening and with mouths to feed, she decided to brave the unknown and bake this vivacious mixture. That day, the bread that emerged from the heat of the fire was lighter, fluffier, and more delicious than she could have ever imagined, and so, birth was given to the first ever sourdough. It's a magical tale, isn't it? An exhausted mom, a forgotten bowl of porridge, and the natural process of fermentation. That's the secret recipe of our beloved sourdough. Now, I can't vouch for the complete historical authenticity of this tale, but it's a delightful story and a fitting origin for our adored sourdough. That's a wrap on today's episode of the Breaking Bread podcast. I hope you enjoyed this journey through the past, and it inspired you to give sourdough bread a try if you haven't already. Remember, you can find more stories, helpful baking tips, and mouth-watering recipes at our blog. The details are given in the show notes. Also, don't wait to share your baking stories and photos in our Facebook group, Baking Great Bread at Home. You can find the link in the show notes. Don't forget to subscribe, and you can also find us on YouTube. Just search for Breaking Bread Podcast. Until we meet again, may your bread always rise high and your kitchen be filled with the delicious aroma of freshly baked sourdough. This is Rachel Parker, your host at the Breaking Bread Podcast, reminding you that the best bread is bread shared with loved ones. Happy baking!